So I've been thinking a lot about My Hero Academia, especially with the new chapter that came out, 276. And the idea came to me that Horikoshi, and I think many have had this idea before, but now it just feels more prominent, is that Horikoshi is basically doing a Star Wars 3-part trilogy. And it's more apparent now that we're getting closer to what I think is the end of the second episode. Or the Empire Strikes Back, Attack of the Clones, Last Jedi part of the story. So let's talk about it a little bit. 'Cause I just wanted to talk. It's just an idea that I had, and I had just a few notes here. So first of all, we know that Horikoshi loves Star Wars. I mean, he has Hoth City, he has Lemillion's Attack Phantom Menace in there, although for whatever reason they changed it to Phantom Thread or something in the dub and in the official translation, which is dumb. And if you're reading the manga, they mention another city called Jakku City. So obviously he loves it. And thinking about this made me want to kind of put the arcs and everything that we've seen so far into like his first episode, second episode, third episode. Which I think is going to be quite a fun thing to talk about. And hopefully you guys listen and tell me what your thoughts are. So here's kind of a rough thing that I have. Timeline kind of thing that I have. So the actual first 4 seasons of the anime, I believe, is like the first episode. Let's say episode 4, New Hope, for them, because we have the introduction of Deku, of him starting his life as a student at UA. We have the huge fight of All Might versus All for One. So kind of mirroring the Obi-Wan versus Vader, where they fought, in the past, and now they're fighting again much older. And this happens kind of, I would say, roughly in my timeline, roughly around the same time. I think this happens like in the latter part of the end part of the second act of that movie. So timeline-wise, it kind of fits in the same way. This huge confrontation that they have, where in this one at least, All Might wins, but at a huge cost. And then what I think is the end of this first episode would be with Endeavor being the new number 1 hero. Because that's the end. Like, the symbol piece is gone. We have the new number 1 hero. Here he is. And all is well. This is let's say, the ceremony of, Luke and Han getting the medals from Princess Leia. So that's what I think is like the first half, or the first episode of this trilogy that he's kind of mirroring. Now the second one is what we're currently in, or going to be ending, and this is the Empire Strikes Back episode. So from here on out, everything before I talked to you about, anyone who has seen the anime, caught up, you can just listen to the first part, because the second part we're going to go into a lot of manga spoilers. And if you don't want to know anything about what's going on in the manga and just want to wait for season 5 and so on and so forth, then I suggest you stop listening here and read and then come back and watch, so we can talk more about it. So, second one, Empire Strikes Back. Why do I think this part is Empire Strikes Back? So, right now, I think from the time that Endeavor becomes the number 1, or he shows that he is the number 1 hero after beating that Nomu, I think about 190 chapters have finished. And right now, I think about I think a little bit over 100, or maybe close to 100, we're going to reach from that time. And so in that time, a lot of stuff has happened. So we found out that Deku has new powers that he didn't know he was aware of from the previous owners of One for All. And again, this is kind of a mirror thing, where you can mirror this to Luke's his training and his advancement in the Force that we've seen in The Empire Strikes Back. And then this part, we also see the rise of the League of Villains. And what I mean by that is the character growth and the power growth of Shigaraki and everyone around him. So we get like power growth from Twice, from Toga, and then Shigaraki, basically we get his origin story, and he's able to get Gigantomachia on his side, and basically is finally groomed and prepared to be the perfect candidate for the successor for All for One. So we have all this going on, all this investment on the League of Villains side, and also taking over the I forgot the name of the group they took over, the Liberation Army. So we have all that, and now we're in this arc, which is like the war arc that's going on right now, where we have all of the heroes attacking the League of Villains, their headquarters, and trying to take them down once and for all. And we had a small little time skip, like 4 months of training that everyone has done. And this is where we are right now. And things are getting freaking scary, because Shigaraki has finished the transfer of All For One inside of him. And so now everything's boosted. He has all the quirks that All For One had. And on top of that, he is just insanely strong just by himself. Like in this current chapter, like we see Shigaraki have his quirk temporarily like limited because of Eraserhead, and he takes a full hit from Endeavor, and it like doesn't even do much to him. And then Endeavor's like, how the heck, how strong he's? It imitates almost All Might's strength. But then the doctor kind of explains it's not as strong as that because it would do something to his brain. I can't remember exactly what he said. And even with his quirk being erased continuously by Eraserhead, Shigaraki takes down Endeavor, is standing on his freaking chest, and it is getting crazy. And then we have, in this last chapter, we had Gran Torino grab Bakugo and Deku and get him out of the way of Shigaraki so that all the other pro heroes can fight. And what's funny is, again, I keep seeing all these different parallels and mirrorings from Star Wars. And so Gran Torino, at least in this point, kind of reminds me of like the Yoda, where he's helping Deku. And at this point, he's telling Deku, stay where you are. The pro heroes have to handle this. And you, as we saw in Empire Strikes Back, Luke gets that vision that his friends are going to be in trouble, and he decides to not obey Yoda and fly off to go fight Vader, which, as we all remember, didn't go very well for him. And so at the end of this chapter, we see Deku and Bakugo go and save Eraserhead and attack Shigaraki head on. So this is where I think we're going to have, in the next maybe 10, 15 chapters, we're going to have the end of this second episode. Because right now, this is why I say this right now. Because right now, as we have read, Deku is at about 45% that he can dish out. And I think in the chapter it says like he can comfortably be at 37%, I believe. Something around that time, but at a small burst, he can go up to 45%. We know that he's been able to use the other quirk, the black whiplash thing, a little bit better now. He can control it, and it's not a strain on his body. But that's pretty much it. We don't know anything else of Deku's training and how far he has advanced. Now, here's the thing. If I'm correct on this, then that means that Deku is going to need a event or something to basically destroy him, to basically get him on his knees and for him to feel a real loss. So like, again, mirroring Star Wars, like with Luke fighting Vader, getting beaten, getting his hand chopped off, and then finding out that Vader's his father, and at the time thinking that Obi-Wan was deceiving him by telling him that Vader killed his father. That was a huge blow to Luke, and I think it almost destroyed him. But luckily, he was able to persevere and go on and finish, in episode 6. But I think this needs to happen, or is going to happen, to Deku. So, what exactly is going to happen, and what's going to be the thing that makes him get on his knees? To have Shigaraki basically, maybe figuratively and both literally, have his face be slammed to the ground. Well, I think of two things. So, either one, I think that they might kill off Bakugo or Eraserhead. That's one possibility. Why is that? Because Deku is always someone that wants to save people. That's his whole thing. Like, if he can't save one person, then how can he save, multiple people? If he can't save the people that are closest to him. And so for him to have one of them killed in front of him, I think that's going to break Deku. And that's going to be that point where he needs to, like, buckle down and get even stronger to defeat Shigaraki. Because they're not going to defeat him, but I don't think he's going to die. I think they're just going to let him go, or the heroes are going to escape in some way. That's one thing. The other one is that maybe both of them die. Eraserhead and Bakugo, both of them die, and that's even a huge blow. Or Deku losing his arm as well, because we know that Deku has moved on to focus more on his legs. I mean, he does use his hands for those little air cannons, but I mean, he could do that with his legs as well. So it could be that he loses an arm or maybe 2 arms. Could be. I was thinking of maybe having Bakugo lose all of his power, but then I don't know all of the extent of Eri's quirk, because I know Eri just basically rewinds time to when you had a quirk. So I don't know if that would work on Bakugo if and when she masters that, or if it, because All For One takes it, that there's no way to do that. I don't know. I don't know the writing that Horikoshi is going to do about that, but that's a possibility. But I'm leaning more towards either Eraserhead or Bakugo is going to die. And with that, the League of Villains are going to win. Now, what does that mean? I believe that at the end of this arc, either way, that the Hero Society, as we know it in the manga, is going to crumble. So this is going to be with the deaths that have already happened when Shigaraki awakened, and many more deaths of heroes and other major events, that such as like taking over the world government, something like that. And that will be the end of this second episode. And other changes that I think might happen will be, is that the heroes will still exist, so they won't become non-existent, but they're going to be either scarce, or they're going to be not in an order that they were before. So like hero charts, like, you know, who's number 10, who's number 9, that's going to be gone, because that's going to be irrelevant at the time that they're going to be. Agencies are going to be gone, so all the heroes are just going to work together to fight off Shigaraki's army. And heroes, I think, will push to be viewed in the same way that Stain viewed All Might. Because, you know, Stain, and this is why I'm plugging in Stain a little bit. Stain was always like, you know, you're not a real hero the way that you're fighting, or for the reasons that you're fighting. So I think that the heroes will become more in line with that ideal that Stain had, which I think will make Stain fight with the heroes after this happens. And then at the end, or at the beginning of the 3rd episode of My Hero Academia, there's going to be a huge time skip. I'm going to think a few years, because I think by the end of this, they won't be able to go back to school, or at least in the way that they have it right now. They'll have to be forced to either relocate somewhere, maybe do training and quote-unquote classes in a different way. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, because I do think he's mirroring Star Wars. He's using it as a guideline, like, oh, you know, in the 5th episode, you know, they had this huge loss, and it was all focused on the villains, and that's what it feels like that he's doing right now. And I want to see what losses happen. I mean, I don't want them to die. And it could be that this could be one of the final arcs. Hopefully it's not, and it doesn't look like it's going to, because My Hero Academia is way popular, so it'd be dumb to end it in like 20 or 30 chapters. So I believe we have a lot more chapters to go to finish. So yeah, let me know what you think about this idea that I have. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people have had this idea, but I wanted to put it in kind of a formatted type of way. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just I'm trying to look at it and find those coincidences. But him being the fan that he is, I'm pretty sure he's doing something like this. But let me know what you guys think, and comment down below, and subscribe for all new videos. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. This is David Smash Fan from Chibino Podcast, and I'm out.